We're talking about a man who today in 1839, my brother, my sister, caused a whole commotion. Yes, a commotion that will never ever be forgotten. Joseph Cinquez. Joseph Cinquez. He's also known as Joseph Cinquez, depending on what material you have available to you. My brother, my sister, Joseph Cinquez. And this class will last only 3 minutes. He was actually born Singbe Pierre. Singbe Pierre. And Singbe is spelled Sengbe. Singbe. Singbe Pierre. Singbe Pierre. Sengbe. Pierre. Pieh. And he was born in 1814. My brother, my sister. But he came to be known as Joseph Cinquez or Cinquez. My brother, my sister. Sometimes he's just simply known as Cinquez or Cinquez, Cinque. But he was originally born Sengbe Pierre. My brother, my sister. He was born in Sierra Leone, British Sierra Leone, circa 1814. My brother, my sister. And he was dark, tall, and handsome, as you can see in this photograph. In fact, look at what happened. He was a rice farmer, and he was married with 3 children. That was the time that he was captured and sold into slavery. My brother, my sister. So he left behind his wife and 3 children to redeem a debt. He was sold into slavery. He owed money. And because he couldn't pay, he was sold into slavery to save his own family. My brother, my sister. He was bought by a vile king called Siaka in 1839. 1839. How old was he in 1839? Just slightly over 20 years. My brother, my sister. And finally, he was sold to Pedro Blanco, a Spanish slave trader. He was imprisoned on the Portuguese slave ship Tacora in violation of treaties prohibiting the international slave trade. And he was taken to Havana, Cuba, where he was sold with 110 others to Jose Ruiz and Pedro Montez. They were both Spaniards. My brother, my sister, that was when they decided to transport them on the coastal schooner La Amistad. That was where all hell broke loose. They were destined for sugar plantations, brother, my sister, in Cuba and beyond. On the 30th of June, our hero for today led a revolt, killing the captain of the ship, and he took over the ship. And 2 African captives also died with the ship captain. But 2 sailors escaped. In fact, he was able to take over the ship and monitored the ship all the way. They took Ruiz and Montez, those who had bought them, as prisoners, and demanded that they directed the ship back to Sierra Leone. Now, instead, at night, the pair directed the navigator in the opposite direction towards the Americas, in the hope of attracting the attention of one of their fellow Spaniards who would have come to their aid. My brother, my sister, when the ship started tossing on the high seas. Our hero for today sensed the danger. He believed that no, the ship was not going in the direction of Sierra Leone. About 2 months later, L'Amistad reached the United States waters near Long Island in New York. Members of the USS Washington boarded the vehicle. When they discovered what had happened, as told by the Spaniards, they charged the Africans with mutiny and murder. The ship and the men were taken to New Haven, Connecticut, where I have been as a first witness of this. My brother, my sister. And they went to court. At the end of the day, Cinquez and the other men reached their homeland in 1842 after they were freed by the courts in America. In Sierra Leone, Cinquez encountered civil war. He and his group maintained contact with the local mission for a while, but Cinquez left to trade along the coast. Little is known of his later life, and rumors circulated that he moved to Jamaica. My brother, my sister. Some others held that he became a merchant or a chief, perhaps trading in enslaved people himself. But these are all rumors and unauthenticated. Today we remember the story of this great man who was carried all the way into slavery because he couldn't pay his debt. He left behind his wife and 3 children. He made sure that on the high seas, he captured the slave merchants and redirected the ship towards Sierra Leone. But at night, they tricked him and sent the ship all the way. They landed in Long Island in America, where the courts declared that they were innocent and had to be returned to Africa. When they arrived in Africa, my brother, my sister, civil war had already broken. But he succeeded in returning. One of the very few people carried into slavery who returned to their homelands again. Today we remember you, Papa. YAB. YAB, YAB, YAB. We do not know when he said bye-bye to us, but history tells us that he probably had said bye-bye in 1879. Today we remember you. Today we remember you, Papa. Papa Uninyaminko. Papa Uninyaminko. Papa YAB. Papa YAB. 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 In the burden of knowledge, I ask you, now that you know the story of Joseph Cinquez, who originally was born Sangbe Pierre, what would you do? Yaneni ole mini uba fezu da kagane mezaka yini ye papango bokaya nfifia ye nyanu kai na wo bana ye we be den lele anjiba singa be kunne lele anjiba singa be eri the emperor the conqueror the champion the lion is here hey